We recording? Rock on, man. Thanks. Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas W. Timbrooks, and I'm running for the United States House of Representatives for Oregon's 6th Congressional District. My motto is going to be make Oregon's 6th Congressional District America's greatest congressional district. That's Moskdagtka. It's kind of like MAGA, but it's not MAGA, it's Moskdagtka. Anyways, greetings, welcome to my show. I put these out because, well, got a screen in the background. It's flashing some stuff. Never mind. Pay no attention to the screen behind the plant. Anyways, I have got a budget of $0 so I got to put these out on YouTube so that people know who I am. And today's tea is Egyptian licorice. I like Egyptian licorice tea. You should try it sometime. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. So, yeah, so this is what I'm about. I'm a manufacturing engineer. I'm a person who wants to represent Oregon's 6th Congressional District because I love Oregon and I want to take everything that I've learned as a manufacturing engineer and I want to apply it to the government and what I think the government should be doing to help Oregon's 6th Congressional District become to be the best congressional district in America, okay? So today I'm going to be talking about cancer research. See, my ultimate objective, my number one objective is, well, like I just said, make Oregon's 6th Congressional District America's greatest congressional district. The way I want to do that, the top way that I want to do that, the number one thing, I want to cure cancer. I want to get rid of cancer. I don't like cancer. Cancer is a bad thing. People are always talking about cancer. It's like, hey, man, cancer is the worst possible thing. And yeah, cancer is the worst possible thing. It's terrible. It's an absolutely terrible thing. The last administration, Joe Biden, his son Beau Biden actually had what's called a blastoma, which is a brain tumor. It's a very, very fast-acting brain tumor. And essentially, once it's diagnosed, it's already too late. And that's the way it was with my brother. I have 2 older brothers, and my older brother in the middle there, his name was Tyrus. He died from a blastoma. His wife calls me up, my sister-in-law calls me up, says, hey, you might want to come down here and talk to your brother. It might be the last time you see him. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, well, he was diagnosed with a blastoma. I'm like, geez, man, that's terrible, So, and it took about 6 weeks. They diagnosed him as having his blastoma, and about 6 weeks later, I was going to his funeral. So, yeah, cancer is a terrible thing. I don't like cancer. I want to cure cancer. I want to get rid of cancer. Joe Biden did some initial work with the whole cancer research with money and everything, and I don't know. I just don't think that. See, providing funding for cancer research is one thing, but if you're just going to throw money into a bucket, I mean, there's no guarantee that money is going to make it to the right places and the right people. It's no guarantee that anything is going to happen. And this is why you need a manufacturing engineer like myself to manage the process. Funding is one thing, but the process itself is a totally different thing. So if you want somebody who's actually going to get rid of cancer, I am the person who is actually going to get rid of cancer. It requires the funding, but it requires more than just funding. It requires management, project management skills. It requires technical management skills, engineering skills, and that's what I bring. That's what I bring to the table. So I want to get on with my little slideshow here. So that's me. Core values are limited government, local decision-making, free market economy, fiscal responsibility, personal liability or responsibility, and those are typical core values for conservative Republican. Something I like to mention, insanity is a mental condition that prevents a person from fully understanding the consequences of an action and distinguishing right from wrong. Those two criteria have to be met in order for a person to be considered insane. Okay, that's insanity. While widely attributed to Albert Einstein, there is no evidence he ever said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That phrase likely originated in narcotics recovery literature from the 1980s, and in 1983 usage in Rita Mae Brown's book Sudden Death, attributing it to a character named Jane Fulton. Okay, and the reason I put that in there is because I keep on hearing politicians and everybody just says, oh yeah, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting that's not the definition of insanity. That's actually the scientific process. Okay, I'm a scientist, I am an engineer, I understand the scientific process. We create a process, we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we anticipate different results because in the process there is natural variation, and that's what we're looking for, is natural variation. So that's not insanity, it's a scientific process, okay? So anytime somebody tells you that's what the definition of insanity is, they haven't been doing their research. They haven't done their due diligence, okay? So here we are. Advancing cancer research through immunotherapy, a strategic growth opportunity for Oregon's 6th Congressional District, okay? The new approaches are needed beyond traditional treatments. Cancer remains one of the leading causes of death. Let me get my little things out here. I got a script that goes along with this. Let's see. In spite of America's scientific advancements, cancer remains one of the leading causes of death in the United States. For decades, cancer treatment has relied heavily on painful and destructive methods like chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. While these treatments have saved many lives, they also come with limitations and severe side effects. For quite some time, Oregon has been helping usher in a new era in cancer treatment by using the human immune system itself to fight cancer. The core idea here, was that the core idea? The challenge? Okay, 1, 2, okay, the solution, whatever. Okay, I'm reading off a script here. I got a script here that goes with these slides. So I'm going to read the script, I'm going to show you the slides, and that's going to be the way I do it for this one anyway. It's very important to me, so I wanted to get it all down. That's why I sound mechanical. I'm not artificial intelligence yet. Okay, so the human immune system may be the most advanced natural defense system against disease in existence. Since the late 1800s, scientists have been attempting to train the immune system to identify and destroy cancer cells. Researchers in Oregon continue that effort today. This approach is known as immunotherapy. Instead of relying entirely on radiation and chemotherapy to attack cancer directly, modern medicine is increasingly focused on helping the body fight cancer using the powerful biological tools that nature and more than 1 billion years of evolution have already provided. So why immunotherapy matters? Well, first explored in the late 1800s, immunotherapy represents a major paradigm shift in medicine. By revisiting the ideas from the past, modern science is helping more cancer treatment into the, helped move cancer treatment into the future with technologies that target cancer more precisely. Let me see. I've got to do this real quick. Sorry. Okay. I'm new at reading. I'm not accustomed to reading anything where you don't color in the pictures. So sorry about that. So, immunotherapy reduces damage to healthy tissue and in some cases can create long-term immune protection that helps prevent cancer from returning. See, so traditional versus modern treatment. Traditional chemotherapy attacks cancer cells, but it also damages healthy cells throughout the body. Immunotherapy works differently. Instead of attacking the body directly, it helps the immune system recognize cancer as a threat, much like a vaccine helps the immune system recognize a virus. The types of immunotherapy, there are several forms of immunotherapy currently being used and developed. Checkpoint inhibitors help immune cells recognize and attack tumors. CAR T-cell therapy engineers immune cells to fight cancer directly. Cancer vaccines help train the immune system to identify cancer cells, and monoclonal antibodies target specific markers found on cancer cells. The national momentum, the federal government has long recognized the importance of cancer research. Breakthrough therapies are now emerging more rapidly than ever before. Through strategic federal investment, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and precision medicine can accelerate discovery and help transform the future of healthcare. Existing leadership in Oregon. Okay. Oregon already has strong leadership in cancer immunotherapy research. Institutions like the OHSU Knight Cancer Institute and Providence Cancer Institute are helping drive innovation nationally through clinical trials, immune system research, biotechnology development, and precision medicine. These organizations are bringing together doctors, engineers, researchers, data scientists, and biotechnology companies to develop new methods of training the immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells more effectively. This growing ecosystem positions Oregon as an important contributor to the future of cancer treatment. Now, the gap. However, most advanced cancer research and treatment remains concentrated in Portland. That creates access limitations for rural communities and mid-valley populations. And here's our opportunity. This is the part, see, this is where I try to make Oregon's 6th congressional district America's greatest congressional district, because it's very important to get rid of cancer, but what's more important, well, not more important, what's almost as important as getting rid of cancer is how it's going to benefit Oregon economically. You see, we've got all these research institutes up here. What we need is federal funding, and that federal funding is going to pay for certain things, and the things that the federal funding is going to pay for will ultimately help Oregon become a better place and our 6th congressional district to become a much better congressional district, okay? Now I'm going to explain how I'm going to make that happen. Let's see. What the heck did I do there? Sorry about that. The gap, the opportunity. Where am I at? Okay, I did the gap. Oh, there I am. I'm sorry. I'm all the way at the bottom. Okay, this creates an enormous opportunity. We can expand cancer research, treatment, and innovation directly into Oregon's 6th congressional district. Man, this reading off a script is kind of weird to me, but you know, I did it this way because cancer research is like the #1 important thing on my agenda, and I'm kind of screwing it up. But you know, hey, bear with me, okay? This is important. Cancer research is very important, okay? Let me see. So. The gap, we did the gap, the opportunity, and geographic advantage. That's where I am. Salem sits in a strategic location at the center of the Willamette Valley that makes it accessible to large regional population. That's a good thing. When advanced care is closer to patients, travel burdens decrease, early detection improves, and treatment consistency improves, and survival outcomes also improve. One of the most important concepts in healthcare is simple. Access improves outcomes. When advanced medical treatment is closer to patients, cancer can be detected earlier, treatments can begin sooner, and patients are more likely to complete treatment programs successfully. Proximity saves lives because time, consistency, and early detection are critical factors in surviving cancer. And here we are at economic opportunity. This is the money part for us. Okay, medical research also creates economic opportunity. High-skilled jobs such as laboratory technicians, biotechnology engineers, clinical researchers, software developers, medical manufacturers, and healthcare specialists. Long-term investment in laboratories, research facilities, medical campuses, housing, education, and supporting infrastructure. Stable economic growth drive innovation, workforce development, new businesses, and the expansion of healthcare and biotechnology industries. For workforce development, this industry creates careers in biotechnology, clinical research, laboratory science, engineering, manufacturing, and healthcare support. I mean, those are all some really, really important things. We want that stuff for Oregon. To support expansion, specialized infrastructure is needed. Laboratories to study cancer biology, immune response, and new treatment technologies. Clinical trial facilities where emerging therapies can be tested safely and evaluated for effectiveness. Infusion centers where patients can receive advanced immunotherapy treatments close to home. Research campuses that bring together scientists, engineers, healthcare providers, educators, and biotechnology companies to accelerate innovation. The scalable expansion model. Okay. One effective approach is a hub and spoke system. Portland serves as the primary research hub. Salem becomes a major regional extension. And I guess the part that I'm not explaining there, and it just occurs to me, right now, Oregon does have an established program for immune therapy for cancer. The problem is it's located just in Portland. Now, the problem with being just in Portland is, well, the space is limited. There's a lot of limitations. The property is very expensive. You don't really have a lot of room to expand. And what we want to get to ultimately, we want Oregon to be synonymous with people being cured of cancer. We want Oregon to be known as the state where cancer goes to die. All right? Now, in order for that to happen, we have to have larger facilities than what is available in Portland. Portland has got a terrific facility. It's great. It's right there and everything, and it can handle a whole bunch of patients. The problem is it can't handle all of the patients. And what it is, we really want Oregon to be the place where cancer goes to die. So we're going to need to open up new facilities. Salem, McMinnville, just Dallas. Pardon me. So there's a lot of places, there's a lot of free space, a lot of open countryside all over Oregon between Salem and Portland, between Eugene and Salem. There's a lot of big empty land area there. And we could build these cancer facilities, cancer treatment facilities there. We can have access to, big empty open spaces, lots of parking garages, basically just open space, okay? There's a lot of open space that's not being utilized in between Salem and Portland. I want to utilize that. I want to build facilities there so that everybody in America, everybody all over the world can say, I've got cancer, I'm going to Oregon, okay? That's what I want people to say. That I want everybody in the world to say, oh, cancer, go to Oregon, okay? Because I want Oregon to be the place where cancer goes to die. All right, that's my objective here. Okay, so I'm lost in this. Okay, let's get on to the next slide. Example model. We already see this model working through satellite programs connected to larger installations like OHSU. By expanding treatment and research access beyond a central location, patients are able to receive advanced care closer to home while still benefiting from the expertise and resources of major research institutions. We know this model is effective because it improves access to treatment, increases participation in clinical trials, reduces travel burdens on patients and families, and allows medical innovation to reach more communities more quickly. Salem Health can serve as a strong foundation for regional medical expansion. Located in the center of the Willamette Valley, Salem Health already provides medical care to a large and growing regional population. Its existing healthcare infrastructure, medical workforce, patient network, and central geographic location make it an ideal partner for expanding cancer research, clinical trials, and immunotherapy treatment and specialized medical services throughout Oregon's 6th Congressional District. By building on an established healthcare system instead of starting from scratch, expansion can happen more effectively, more affordably, and more rapidly. So, local expansion benefits. Expanding locally creates practical benefits. Shorter travel times, more consistent treatment, higher patient compliance. It also allows patients to access cutting-edge therapies without leaving their communities. And when more people can participate in research, discoveries happen more quickly. So essentially, the way I've got the presentation worded here and the way the script is showing it, what it sounds kind of like is we're going to expand. It sounds kind of like I want to expand towards Salem or around Salem because I want people in Oregon to be able to access this, and that is a good thing. It's a good thing that people all over Oregon is able to access this, but more to the point is we need bigger facilities, more facilities, so like I said before, we can handle more cancer patients, more people all over the world. I want everybody all over the world on the planet. If you are in some really out of the way obscure place in Botswana, Africa, I want you to say, oh, I've got cancer, going to Oregon. If you live in China or Russia or Norway, I want you to say, well, got cancer, going to Oregon. That's what we need the bigger facilities for, and that's why we need to find a place to build these big facilities because people all over the world, cancer happens all over the world, right? We just want to be the place where cancer comes to die. And that's my number one objective here. That's what I want to get across to the people in Oregon, well, in the 6th Congressional District, the people who hopefully will be voting for me to represent them in Washington, D.C. Okay, I want those people, the people who are voting in Oregon's 6th Congressional District, to elect me because I want to go to Washington, D.C., and I want to bring federal funding into Oregon that will make Oregon the place where cancer comes to die from all over the world. Everywhere in the world, I want everybody in the world to say, I got cancer, going to Oregon, okay? That's all I want anybody in the world to know about Oregon, is that this is where cancer goes to die, okay? End of story. End of story there, man. Well, not the total end of the story. I'm still going to talk. Okay, so let me see. Research expansion. Where is that? That was this one. Federal funding role. Okay, this is where federal funding becomes important. Federal investment reduces risk and encourages institutional expansion. Okay, so what's meant by that? Okay, money. The only reason anything happens ever is money. Okay, something I've said before, I think I've said it before on here, but I don't expect anybody to remember it because I use a lot of words. I talk a lot. Anyways, if you want to dig a hole in the ground that's 1 foot deep and 1 foot around, you need a shovel. If you want to dig a hole in the ground that's 100 feet deep, 100 feet wide, and 100 miles long, you need money. See, money is a tool. It is a tool that gets people to act in a collective way. If you want a big thing to happen, you need money to make it happen, because money gets people to act together. Money gets people to go towards the same common goal, the same common end. Okay, so that's what federal funding is going to do. Federal funding will provide Oregon with the money that is required to get everybody acting in a way that we can make Oregon the place where cancer comes to die. All right, that's what federal funding is going to do. Federal funding is going to make that happen. And if I'm in Washington, D.C., that's what's going to happen, okay? So, next slide, strategic investment. Strategic investment should focus on 3 areas: immunotherapy research, regional expansion, workforce development. The return on investment. This investment produces measurable returns, better health outcomes, that means people aren't dying from cancer, lower long-term health care costs because cancer therapy, the cost of cancer therapy is reduced because you're getting your body to do what it's supposed to do anyway. Stronger local economies. That's because, fewer people are dying of cancer. The national security angle. Biotechnology leadership is also a national security issue. America must remain competitive in medical innovation and biological defense. And if you look at what's happening over there in Iran right now and in the Middle East, the reason the United States is being allowed to do basically whatever we want over there is because people all over the world understand in America we have transparency. Our government has transparency. Iran, no transparency. The government does whatever it wants, and if you don't like it, the government is still going to do whatever it wants, okay? So the reason so many countries all over the world and so many people all over the world come to America is because they know that the financial system, the legal system, the political system in America is the most transparent in the world. Everybody knows exactly what's happening in America's government, in America's corporations, all the time. And that's why they wanted it here. Now, that's why with national defense, you see, we have to have, America needs to be secure. And in order for America to be secure, we have to maintain this transparency. We have to maintain our capacity to work. And so in order for us to stay ahead, we have to have these strategic investments, and the biotechnology leadership has to stay here. We can't let it go anyplace else. Other countries all over the world can have the biotechnology. It's fantastic, but when it's in America, everybody in the world knows that anybody can come and get it. See, that's an important thing about America, is that America is an all-access rodeo. Whoever wants to come can get in. Okay, so that's what's important about that. All right. So The supply chain benefits. Domestic production of therapies and medical technologies also reduce dependence on foreign manufacturing, which it does. Innovation ecosystem. When research institutes grow, they attract startups, investors, and technology firms. Industry clustering. This creates industry clustering where supporting businesses naturally grow around research centers. So that's jobs for Oregon, basically, and job creation. Yep. The result is high-paying, long-term employment opportunities. And educational partnerships, community colleges and universities can align programs with workforce needs. The training pipeline. Fast-track certification programs and specialized training pipelines can prepare workers rapidly. And that's you know, there's a lot of people in Oregon that are like, you know, gosh, if I only had an education, I'd get a job. Well, I can't pay for the education. Well, you know what? If we get federal funding in here, companies will be willing to take the risk. And that's what we're talking about with risk, is money. Companies that want to invest their money in our corporations will take the risk, and they will come in and they will work with our people. They will educate them, give them the training that they need, establish these institutes as the cancer treatment places of the world, and that's, you know, that's how it helps Oregon. Okay, so we'll be good with the training pipeline there. So, and rural inclusion, that's us regular people who live out in, you know, McMinnville and stuff. It's like, hey, how are we included? This model also brings advanced healthcare to underserved rural communities, and typically there are a lot of rural communities in Oregon. You know, I mean, you'll drive in any direction and you'll find, here's a little town. Well, here's a tiny town that's between these two little towns. I mean, there's a lot of little towns. Back when I lived out in Texas, we had a lot of little towns, but most of those little towns were like, you know, a long distance and everything. We got a lot of little towns that are kind of packed close together in Oregon. It's kind of neat, but you know, you got to kind of work to find them and everything. And anyways, but those are the rural communities that we're talking about. You know, the tiny little towns where people are just, you know, well, I got a job working at the, I don't know, the Dairy Queen or something like that. You know, if we lived in a nicer place where a lot of jobs were available, I could get a nicer job, but this is what I got. I'm limited. We set these things up, and people in rural communities will have better job opportunities. And that's what I'm working towards, is getting better job opportunities for people all over our 6th congressional district, so that we can be a more prosperous congressional district. Okay? And that's rural inclusion. Equity through access. Healthcare access should not depend on zip code. Equal access improves fairness and improves outcomes. The cost efficiency. Early treatment reduces expensive late-stage care. That lowers long-term healthcare costs overall. And the public health impact. The public health impact could be enormous. Lower mortality rates, better quality of life, healthier communities. And the federal policy proposal, one possible federal policy solution is creating regional cancer innovation grants. And the grant objectives would be these grants would help expand immunotherapy access, support local research centers, and develop workforce infrastructure. Public-private partnerships. Now, this is where the government invests in private business in order to get it going. And there's nothing new about this. It's not socialism. This is actually something that's covered in the Constitution. So, success will require collaboration between hospitals, universities, and private industry. The implementation strategy. Now, the strategy can begin with pilot programs in Salem and expand gradually into surrounding communities. Risk mitigation. And the risk mitigation, like I said, we need we need companies who are willing to come over here and invest their money. Well, they're not going to invest their money without, there isn't, if there's too much risk, they're not going to invest their money. So the risk mitigation comes with the government. So the government's basically saying, look, corporations, you could really help out in getting rid of cancer and making Oregon the place where cancer comes to die. So we want you to invest your money over here in Oregon. And so these companies are going to be saying, well, there's a little bit too much risk because, Oregon, and I could invest my money someplace else. And if the federal government comes out and says, look, if you people invest, if you corporations invest your money in Oregon, we guarantee you at least a 10% return on your investment. That's going to make the companies happy. So, like, let's say actually doing the cancer research provides the company with a 14% return on investment. The government can kick in a little bit there also. But basically, what we want is risk mitigation there. So, measuring the success. Success can be measured through patient outcomes, job creation, and research output, okay? The long-term vision is clear. Establish Oregon 6th District as a major regional medical hub. And like I said, the long-term vision, I want Oregon to be the place where cancer comes to die. I've said that before. I'm sure it'll sink in. But that is the long-term vision of any person who is working in the House of Representatives, is that your congressional district, whoever is representing your congressional district, you want your congressional district to be known for something amazing. And I want Oregon's 6th congressional district to be known for being a place where cancer comes to die. It's a good thing to be known for. And so, I want to make that happen. So my long-term vision for Oregon's 6th congressional district is make Oregon's 6th congressional district America's greatest congressional district by associating it with America. This is where cancer comes to die. Okay, we'll get little bumper stickers made. I live in Oregon's 6th congressional district where cancer comes to die. Boom, make that happen. Just get a little stamp. That's what you do there, man. Anyways, might be a little more complicated than that. So, with national replication, if it's successful, this model can be replicated across the United States, which it should be, because we want as many cancer centers across the United States as we possibly can. With all the research and all the manufacturing going on in Oregon, there will be a whole bunch of jobs available for people who in Oregon who are going to manufacture all these wonderful things, and all these wonderful cancer destroying things are going to go all over America to, all over the world, all over America and all over the world to, help kill cancer. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay, so the strategic alignment. This approach supports public health, economic growth, and American technological leadership simultaneously. So why now? Well, why now? Because the technology is ready, the infrastructure can be built, and the need is urgent. And I got to ask, well, why not now? And I can tell you a big reason why not now is for quite some time, and this is one of the reasons, for a very long time, I had absolutely no interest in politics. And if it weren't for my ability to put videos on YouTube, I would still probably not be running for House of Representatives, because I've been told by experts it's going to cost at least $3 million to get me that seat in Congress. $3 million of campaigning. Okay, if you drive along the road, you're going to see people's signs. You know, this person for this position, this person for this position, this person for this position, and everything, right? And the problem I have with that is that's just marketing. Okay, that's marketing. That's how they get you to buy Pepsi. That's how they get you to buy a cheeseburger. That's how they get you to buy a car, is with just constantly putting it in front of you. This is all about marketing. I'm not interested in marketing. I'm interested in results. I want good things to happen for Oregon's 6th congressional district. I want good things to happen for America. But you see, one representative can only do good things. You have to work on your district. So one representative steers as much federal funding as possible towards his or her district, does as much good stuff as possible, and then that whatever work you do in your congressional district, that takes care of the world. But you see, yeah. For me to do this, I am not going to have the money that is required to have all these signs put all over, so I can't rely on standard marketing. So that's why I put these videos out, because when you see my name on a ballot, and right now I'm not going to be on a ballot. You're going to have to write my name in if you like what you're hearing here. Okay, you'll see my name on a ballot. Okay, they send out the ballots. They say, okay, this person, Thomas W. Timbrooks, is running for the House of Representatives for Oregon's 6th congressional district. And you're going to say, who is this person? I've never heard of him. Okay. I'm going to say, okay, look, you get a little profile thing, okay? It comes with your picture. They send out this pamphlet. They say, Thomas W. Timbrooks, here's his picture. Here's his profile information. He wants to kill cancer, blah, blah, blah. Here's the website that you go to in order to watch his videos. So what's going to happen is, instead of just seeing my name on a sign beside the road, which is, like I said, it's just marketing. That's just cheap advertising and everything. You're going to be able to tell, okay, this person has a whole bunch of videos. This person has a year or 2 years of these videos, and he explains step by step how he's going to make Oregon's 6th congressional district America's greatest congressional district. That's why I got interested in politics, is because presently, with YouTube being free and being able to put these videos out there, I might actually have a chance to go to Washington, D.C. and make a difference. And that's ultimate. That's really my objective. It's not about marketing. It's about making a difference. Okay, and it's tragic that a person can't get to Washington, D.C. unless they know about marketing. And that's really just, it's catastrophic. It's terrible. So why now? Well, I say, why not now? Why hasn't it already been done? And the reason it hasn't already been done is because anybody that goes to Washington, D.C. has to concentrate on marketing. They have to put marketing above any kind of results. And that's a catastrophe. Okay, so the competitive advantage. Salem and surrounding region also offer competitive advantages like lower costs than Portland, available land, and available workforce. The bigger picture here, when health innovation advances, the entire nation benefits. Medical innovation drives national progress. And this is something in the preamble to the United States Constitution. We have, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare. Promote the general welfare. That means create a place where cancer comes to die. And I want Oregon's 6th congressional district to be the place where cancer comes to die. That's what I want, okay? I want you to help me make that happen. Put me in Washington, D.C., and I'll do everything possible to make that happen, okay? So call to action here now. We should invest in cancer research, expand access, and build regional capacity. And my closing statement here, advancing cancer research is not only a medical mission, it's also an economic opportunity, a technological opportunity, a humanitarian opportunity. If we invest wisely today, we can help create a healthier, stronger, and more prosperous future for Oregon and the United States. Now I still got a couple of slides there and everything, but like I said at the beginning here, Joe Biden, at the beginning of his presidency, he comes out and he says, I want to kill cancer. The unfortunate reality is Joe Biden at his advanced age did not have the mental faculty to accomplish what he could have probably done 20, 25 years ago. Okay, and that's just a catastrophe. That's what happens when you get old. Okay, when you get old, that's just things fall apart in your brain. But you know, when you're really young, things haven't really assembled in your brain. So there's this period of time in every person's life where they're no longer so young that things haven't assembled, and they are no longer, or they have not yet got to the age where everything has fallen apart. And the part where everything's assembled, things have not started falling apart, I'm actually in this zone right now. Maybe for another 10 years, I don't know. But while I'm in this little zone where everything's assembled, things have not started falling apart, while I'm in this zone, I want to help with, you know, Joe Biden's main objective there, his main focus, destroy cancer. I want to do that. I want to help destroy cancer. Okay, and that was his main objective. And I know that Donald Trump, that's one of his big objectives also. So that's what I want to get there. Now, why hasn't this happened faster? Significant effort has been made nationally through programs like Cancer Moonshot Initiative, and that's from the Joe Biden era. And this is what I'm talking about. Money alone is not enough. You cannot just provide financing for something. You can't just say, this is a big block of money. Boom, cure cancer. You can't do that. The research, the medical care, everything has to be put together in a project management way. It's a huge project, and it needs to be guided. It needs to be steered. It needs to be managed properly. You cannot just take a truckload of money someplace, dump it off in somebody's front yard, and say, cure cancer. That it doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, that's the way it happened during the Biden administration. And the reason it happened that way is because Joe Biden did not have the mental faculties to ensure that it happened properly. Well, I have the mental faculties, and I know whoever it is that comes in, I know that President Trump has the mental faculties, and people around President Trump have the mental faculties. They can handle this project. If it's funded properly and if it's managed properly, we can destroy cancer. Okay, so that's what I'm after here. The breakthroughs in immunotherapy, precision medicine, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology are already changing cancer treatment. However, scientific discovery alone is not enough. Research infrastructure, clinical trial access, workforce development, and regional treatment capacity have not expanded at the same pace as the technology itself. The next challenge is not simply discovering new therapies. The next challenge is building the systems needed to bring those therapies to more communities and more patients. Okay, what has been done so far? Now, Yes, significant effort has been made. Our representative now, Andrea Salinas, has supported federal funding for scientific research and innovation, including cancer research in Oregon. But like I said, funding alone is not enough. Andrea Salinas is, I'm sure, I've never actually met her or had coffee with her or anything. I'm sure she's a wonderful human being. I'm sure she's a very responsible human being. But as an engineer, I understand the science behind the cure. I understand the process. I understand how to manage the project. She is just basically getting money over to these people. And she's thinking, okay, I brought a truckload of money over to this person's garage. I dumped it off. They should be able to cure cancer because they got the money. Well, how do you know that they aren't doing something with that money, like, you know, just giving it to somebody and they're playing foosball and drinking beer and having sandwiches and stuff. It's like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're curing cancer. Well, it looks like you're playing foosball and watching TV and drinking beer and, sitting around in beanbag chairs, shrooming out, listening to Boz Scaggs. But what do I know? I'm just a politician. I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of money in the garage here with you. And, you people keep curing cancer. Curing cancer is going to require a scientific, systematic approach with transparency, with project management skills. Somebody like me has to be watching, has to be managing, has to be making sure that all of the money is being utilized properly. See, so financing alone is not enough. You need management skills. So. Supports federal research investment, advocates for Oregon Research Institution, and delivers federal resources to the district. What is not yet a focus? A major targeted initiative to expand cancer immunotherapy infrastructure, clinical trials, and treatment capacity across Oregon's 6th district has not been a prominent part of her public agenda, of Andrea Salinas' public agenda. And I don't want to sound like I'm attacking Andrea Salinas, okay? I have respect for her. Like I said, I'm sure she's a wonderful human being. I'm sure she's doing all she can in Washington, D.C. But you see, that's the point. A couple of things about the way she does things in Washington, D.C. have kind of disappointed me. See, politicians have to work with each other and work inside of the ecosystem, the echo chamber. They have to work alongside each other, Democrats, Republicans, independents, whatever. We all have to work together in order to get to a common place here. And something that I saw Andrea Salinas and many of the Democrats do. Oh, that Egyptian licorice tea is good stuff. Is during Donald Trump's State of the Union address, she got up and walked out. And that's the way she is with Republicans. So, I mean, if you're going to just say goodbye, we don't need Republicans' help. No. Republicans stand, we're going to sit. Republicans sit, we're going to stand. Republicans vote yes, we're going to vote no. They vote no, we vote yes. That's not how you get things done. Okay, look, I appreciate the fact that you have moral standards. I do. I appreciate the fact that every politician in government has some kind of standards, and the Democrats do not like the Republicans. I appreciate that. I respect that. You have every right in the world not to like Republicans, but understand this. You are in Washington, D.C. to serve the people. You are there to make sure that the money that the American taxpayer sends to Washington, D.C. gets utilized properly. And how does it get utilized? Well, it has to meet one of the 6 criteria set forth in the preamble. Has to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. How is the money being used now? Because when Elon Musk first went in with Doge, and they started finding, what, $160 billion in misused federal funds? American money was going to Africa and financing the Boko Haram, which is a terrorist organization that kills Christians. I mean, that's their whole purpose. The whole purpose of the Boko Haram in Africa is to expand Islam. And that's it. And how are they going to expand Islam? Killing Christians. We were financing that. Elon Musk stopped that. And in order to protest what Elon Musk was doing, Andreas Salinas got up and walked out of Congress and said, I don't support you, Donald Trump. That's not why you're there. You are there to make sure Oregon gets the money that Oregon needs to be successful. Okay, I respect the fact that you have issues with Donald Trump and the Republican Party. I do. But you're there to work with them. You aren't there to just go and do your own thing. Okay? So that's what I will do differently. I go to Washington, D.C. I don't care what you do. I don't care what party you represent. You represent the American people. And you are there. You are in Washington, D.C. to take care of the people in your district and to make sure that America is a better place when you get out of office than it was when you got into office. Okay, so that's the problem I have. With the way things are being run now, I just don't see it being run properly. And there's the opportunity. Scientific discovery is moving forward. Oregon already has world-class research assets. The next step is building regional infrastructure and expanding access to bring these advances to more communities and more patients across the 6th district. Okay, so this is my raccoon of ended presentations. These are my top 10 objectives, and we remove $5 trillion from national debt and the rest of these things. Cancer is my number one. Destroying cancer is my number one thing for Oregon's 6th congressional district, and the rest of these things are going to happen because that happens. I support President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I think Tulsi Gabbard for president in 2028 is a good idea. And the whole Make America Great Again thing, yes, I support MAGA, but I am mostly a Mosque Dagta person. I want to make Oregon's 6th congressional district America's greatest congressional district. And I think I'm going to add something there. I want Oregon to be the place where cancer comes to die. So thank you very much for joining me, and God bless and take care.